Jay Edwards, Sprite Training. Today I'm here to talk about why soldiers may struggle to gain muscle. The aim of this discussion or talk is to equip you with the knowledge of catabolism and anabolism, going into looking at nutrition, rest and training. Also, by the end of this talk, you should be able to understand why hormones play such an important role in how soldiers perform either in camp, barracks or in the field. First, let's talk about anabolic and catabolic. These are two states your body can be in at different times. So catabolic. Catabolic is a state where your body breaks down sometimes muscle, but breaks down in order to create energy. Anabolic is where your body literally builds up itself. Anabolic, a good explanation or a good example of anabolic is sleep. Is when you're resting, your body is rebuilding itself. All the secretion of necessary hormones are taking place. All muscle fiber recovery is going on as well. And catabolic, a good example of this is training. Is a total opposite. Is being in a gym and breaking down muscle fibers. Soldiers have literally the same profile, in my opinion, as athletes. There's an off season and there's an on season. In a soldier's off season, this is the time when they will be able to gain the most muscle. The off season could be put down to when a soldier is in camp or in barracks, when they're in a nice secluded area where they can, have the amenities just like being at home. So they can go to have food whenever they want to, they can get good adequate rest, and their training that they have in camp isn't so arduous as the training that's in the field or on operations. For example, training in camp could be a 1.5 mile run today or an 8 mile tab. So it's training which you can come in and recover from throughout your day back in camp. Okay, in the field, it's a total different situation where you're in a zone where you're almost catabolic at all times. You could go out, for example, on an exercise, and you could be on an ambush at 5 in the morning, or going out and doing an assault at 3 AM in the morning, not having enough sleep to recover, and also your nutrition and your training parameters in the field could also be affected in terms of the anabolic and catabolic situation. Hormones play a crucial role in this situation. Before I go into the hormones, we'll talk about this triangle here that I've used before to explain things. Nutrition. You have nutrition, training and rest. These all affect hormonal secretion, and the whole point of it is to have all these things at optimal in order to secrete or to have the best hormonal profile. Therefore, you don't have to rely on drugs, steroids. That's why, athletes sometimes cheat and use anabolic steroids, because they get that extra boost which they wouldn't be able to if they were going natural. Okay, let's just look into a soldier's nutrition. In-field nutrition is totally subjective to ration packs or to extra added food you may bring along with you. Rest is also imperative. Rest sometimes could come today, sometimes tomorrow you might not have enough rest. And the training, it all depends on what sort of activity you're doing. If you're in special forces and you're going across arduous terrain, you're carrying out aerobic activity, which is oxidative energy, you're going to be burning so much more calories and secreting not as much anabolic hormones as you need. Whereas if you're doing anaerobic activity, like for example a section attack or a platoon attack, this is much hard, fast and aggressive. This kind of training allows more sort of secretion to take place. Stress hormones like cortisol will always creep into the blood when you're probably on exercise or in operations. You're getting attacked, fight or flight, the adrenal glands, the pituitary gland, everything starts pushing this cortisol, all this adrenaline build up. You don't know what to do sometimes. But yeah, what you can do about this in order to lower cortisol levels, you can look into bringing some vitamin C tablets with you into the field. So having some vitamin C when stress levels get a bit high. Relax, be a bit stoic. Nutrition is possibly the only effective way of remaining slightly more anabolic in the field, because the training and the rest probably isn't in your control. You can't go and fuck off and rest when you fancy to do so, or you can't, you know, tell the fucking commanding officer, no, I'm not fucking going up that hill because it's too much for my muscle. You all go up that hill, and you know you have no say in the matter. So you can't control the other two implements in my triangle, the training and the rest. However, you can look after your nutrition. So be mindful of your nutrition. Get the stuff you need in the field with you. When you're filling up your pockets, be mindful of what you fill them up with, and add stuff that's going to benefit you for what you're trying to achieve. So all these matters can be taken in place, and this could, to being in a catabolic state at more time than so for soldiers, often will lead to breakdown and going into using muscle as energy. Sometimes you may go in the field for probably a very short period. You might be on exercise or on operations, and you might come back really lean. This is if your body type is that fantastic that you happen to be burning a lot of body fat instead of utilizing up a catabolic state of muscle tissue for you to use as energy. So how can you possibly improve this situation? How can you be in a military environment and still remain anabolic, or still not lose so much muscle, or still build muscle whilst being in a military environment? Basic situation: if you are going through your basic training, if you've just started training, doing, you know, if you're at Sandhurst, or you just started your commando course, or whatever situation it is, and it's basic where you are demanded to do things on a very high level, then there is no point even thinking about gaining muscle. You just need to devote your mental state to this training and not worry about that muscle for that minute, because you'll be doing so much aerobic activity in your basic training. Whether you're infantry, whether you're logistics, or even signals, you'll be required to do this. So this taxation of aerobic activity on the body, I would suggest that thinking about muscle growth is you know, just put it outside the box until you get through this kind of training. What you can do if you are, you know, into your military career and you're trying to gain a bit of muscle, I'd suggest you use certain supplementations when going out in the field on exercises, or whether you're on operations. Branched chain amino acids is definitely something to consider, because I don't think any personnel would want to walk around with a big tub of protein shake in a backpack, or, you know, your protein bars won't probably last you enough for only a couple of days. So this added nutrition that you need to take in conjunction with the ration packs that you're taking on board, you need to make sure you're having some kind of amino acids or some kind of protein. So, you know, amino acids, you can get them in the tablet form, which you literally just get it down your neck when you need to, in order to prevent the body from going absolutely catabolic and start using muscle up as energy. We know that, you know, the body, it takes a while. You have to deplete all glycogen before you go into that state, and it, you know, it goes quite some time. But being in the field for a long state will have a massive catabolic state, your metabolic system. So try and remain anabolic. Get as much rest as you can if you're in the field, even though we know that's almost impossible. Also look into your nutrition, so take on as much amino acids as you can. And the training, you're not going to be doing any resistance training in the field, as far as I know it. You can take a resistance band in with you and do various movements that you can with resistance bands. You know, one resistance band in your backpack will not go amiss. Another top tip is get a rolling pin. You know, the rolling pin that you use to make dough with. Bring one of those in your Bergens, your backpacks. whip it out after an arduous run or a bit of tabbing. Get the rolling pin like a foam roller, roll it over your muscles, particularly in the legs. Get it down the IT band, right down the side of the leg. Get it down also the hip thrusters muscles in the quadricep region, and also roll out your calf muscles, your soleus and your gastrocnemius. Roll them out. You'll be surprised. It will help with recovery, and that will help along with catabolic state. Also, another amino acid which is quite important, L-glutamine. A lot of people don't really see the benefits of L-glutamine because they take it in far too little dosage. This is what tends to be one of the main problems with my athletes and some of my clients. You know, L-glutamine is rubbish, shit, it doesn't work. Possibly you need to up the dosage, take a bit more L-glutamine. You know, maybe you're getting enough L-glutamine as well from, you know, the steaks you'll be having in the field and all those lovely chicken breasts. So maybe you won't need it. So look into a bit of L-glutamine as well, which should help you with your situation.
Who's bad?